Hi, and we're back for another edition of Yarns of Happiness. I am Dana, aka DWJ, and this is Jellybean! Hey, Beanie Weenie. Hey, Stinky Beanie. Hey. I thought, since so many people have asked for a little appearance of Jellybean, and because people wanted to see my soldadna crop, that I would also show her off in hers. But I won't make her sit here for the whole podcast. No. You okay, Stinko? Okay. Alright. She'll probably sit in my lap. Or, jump down. Alright, so, since the last episode that I put up, I have still been knitting and working on fun projects and doing different things. And since it's still been so warm, I've still been all about cotton. So I wanted to share a couple of other cotton yarns that I've been introduced to. I also wanted to show off my latest finished object. Well, actually, it's not even my latest, but one of my most fun finished objects, the Soldotna Crop Top by Caitlin Hunter, Boylan Knitworks. And you got to see Jellybean's tiny version. And I wanted to talk a little bit, too, about fit, because that's something that people ask me about with my knitting all the time. And I realized when I was writing a blog post the other day about a boxier top that I knit that has a bit more ease, and based off of comments that people were giving me, that one of the tips I always give is know your measurements, okay? Know your bust. I like to know how long my arms are from the armpit because I'm short. I'm only 5'3", and so I typically have to modify sleeves a little bit when I'm knitting a full-length sweater, because they'll say, go 15 inches, well, you hit 13 and I'm already at my wrist. So you have to be very aware of what your actual measurements are. Get a friend to measure you. You can't really measure yourself well. It'll skew how your tape measure fits on you. Get a friend to measure you. Write them down in a note in your phone so that you always know it and have those notes. Know what your bust measurement is. I'll tell you all, I typically knit for a 40 bust. I am in US size, averaging typically between a size 12 or a size 14 if I'm a little on the heavier side. And if I'm on my skinnier side, you can see on my clavicles and whatnot, I'm probably in a size 10. So it's not that I'm skinny, I'm a B cup, I'm not super curvy, but I know that sometimes things with more ease or that are looser fitting aren't going to fit me well. So I actually did a little hyperlapse video showing some of the different tops and things that I've knit that I'll drop in here too, so that you can see some of the different fits really fast on me, and you can search through the blog and see some of the different projects. But for me, I know that I do better with things that nip in a little bit at the waist for me, that fit me a little bit more to actually show my shape, instead of something that's going to kind of sit like a sack, because then I just look bigger than what I actually am. So my second tip is always know what works for you. Just because a pattern suggests 10, 12 inches of ease doesn't mean you have to knit that for yourself if you know that that's going to make you look heavier. So even for the Soldotna, for my Guthrie, for my Tecumseh, I tend to knit down from the recommended size of what the pattern designer might want, because the pattern designer might love that ease and might love that look, and it doesn't necessarily work for me. And that, again, number 3, the third thing to think about when you're thinking about fitting and picking what's right for you is knowing that it's knitting, and the beauty of it is that we can customize it. Look, I'm not talking about having to make a pattern from scratch. I'm talking about knowing, you know what, maybe I need to add a little bit more shaping once I get past separating for sleeves. I really love looking at some of the changes that people are making and extending sizes and things like that for some of the projects they're doing. But if you look at something like the Ursa sweater, for a C cup and up, she gives you pattern notes on how to create darts in the bust to give it more shape. So you're seeing a shift in patterns and how things are growing and changing to really help accommodate fuller bodies. Because if I'm a size 12, 14, I'm one of the average sizes in the United States. And so patterns can be going up in size and really trying to accommodate someone who has a real body shape. That's my opinion. So for me, even when I knit things, sometimes they'll say pick the larger pattern do something with a bit more ease, and I'll go, you know what, I'm gonna go what's closest to my bust size. Maybe I'll go a little bit smaller just to make sure that I get the nice fit that I want. And for my soldotna, I decided, since this is cotton, I'm gonna show you, I didn't do the color work in the body because I didn't want it to be so heavy, and I wanted to be lighter, and I wanted to be able to feel kind of the breeze through the cotton when I wore it. And I've been wearing it a lot this summer because I really like it. And I will link to where you can see my notes and things like that on my blog as well under this video, like I always do. But this has been one of my summer favorites. Another thing that I've been super excited about is planning for the fall in the future. I already have a list of 12 sweaters that I want to knit for myself before the end of the year. It's a problem. And I'm still working away on summer things. But I wanted to share some more cotton. And then I'm going to share 2 super colorful things that I'm working on or want to work on next. So I was in Brooklyn for the 4th of July. It's where my husband is from. And I went to String Things Studio in Brooklyn. And I went to their knit night on Friday night, which is probably one of the most fun knit nights I've ever had. I felt super welcomed. I got to meet a lot of really fun people like Gay from GG Knits. And Felicia, the store owner, was welcoming and wonderful. And Jellybean came with me, and we wore our matching Durumis because why not? But while I was in the shop, what I loved is that I love going to different yarn shops because everybody picks different yarn, and there's always something new that I can find or that I'll be interested in, so that always excites me. And yes, my stash is huge and I'm always adding to it. But new to me, can you see this lovely periwinkle? That's just gorgeous. This is Juniper Moon Farms Cumulous yarn. It's worsted weight, 251 yards of 94% cotton and 6% nylon. And when I tell you it feels like a cumulus cloud in your hand, this is some of the softest, yummiest cotton. And I actually had a different cotton that I was going to use to make my Ursa sweater that I want to make. But now I love this so much and it's so soft that Ursa might get made in this. Or I may change my mind like I do 85 billion other times. But I had to share this. So many other people, when I posted this on the blog, said this stuff is amazing. So I'm very excited about this one. And then I asked on Instagram the other day for any yarn dyers who may carry speckled dyed cotton, just for a little bit of interest or fun. And someone that came up multiple times was Birdie Knits. Okay, so there you go. This is Birdie Knits worsted weight cotton. It's 100% cotton. It's worsted weight, 190 yards. And this colorway is called Umbrella Drinks. And it's kind of awesome and wonderful. And I keep considering if I want to make like a quick tank top with this, just so that I can knit with it and see all of the wonderful goodness that's in this. But yeah, so Birdie Knits. It's another one. I will link to this shop too, in case anyone else is just as interested in cotton as I am. And then, okay, I know it's July, I know it's hot, and school prep and all that stuff is already starting for me because by the second week of August, I'm busy. And so I'm already thinking about the things that I'll be working on knitting for fall. So what you may not know, if you're not familiar with the blog or you haven't heard me talk about this before, knitting brioche is soothing to me. It's like a palate cleanser, and I've been knitting so much straight stockinette and things like that for bodies of tops that I really wanted a brioche project. But typically that means it's going to be a shawl or maybe a hat. But there is a pattern called Linus where you can make either a pullover or a cardigan. I love a cardigan. And so the body of it, which I'll show in a second, is brioche. But it's done in 2 weights. So essentially the body of the sweater is knit and a DK weight yarn, and then a fingering weight yarn is used as the secondary color to run through it for brioche. So I decided I wanted a good neutral sweater, but neutral for me. Neutral means rainbows. So the body of the sweater is going to be this gorgeous slate by Miss Babs. This is Miss Babs Yowza. I enjoy using Yowza because it's 560 yards of yarn, so I don't have to weave in a lot of ends because I hate weaving in ends. But it's also just, you get so much accomplished out of one skein. And I decided for the colorwork portion of it, well, not the colorwork, for the brioche portion where you get to add a pop of color, I'm doing all the color! So, this is Knitty and Colors Ain't It Fun colorway. I also own this in a DK weight, but I got her sock weight yarn so that I can have this really wonderful ribbon of just rainbow goodness paired with this slate gray. And so that's kind of how I think about color pairings. Is this is really neutral. This is every color possible, so I consider neutral to go with everything. Rainbows are always neutral to me. So if I can pair what's a really nice gray, a soft gray, with something that punches it up with a lot of color, meaning that I can also put it on with pretty much anything I want to, that's how I come up with some of my fun color combinations. So I'm really excited because I need some brioche to kind of clear my mind and get myself back into a good knitting groove for sweaters. So Linus will be what I'm working on for that. And then a pattern that I have been itching to try is Featherweight Cardigan by Knitbot Hannah Fettig, because it uses this fun Hedgehog Fibres yarn. And so this is Hedgehog Fibres Feather. Looks like little feathers and it's wild. And it's this bright limey green that the camera has a hard time picking up. And I've decided to pair it with something that was in my stash, some Madeline Tosh DK weight. It's called Gin and Tonic. But it's got little ribbons of that green that's in the feather. And so it'll create a really great textural cardigan that I think will be fun, that I'm sure my students will think is wild and crazy, but it's what I want to make. It's what's going to make me happy to wear something like that. So that is what has recently been on my needles, what I want on my needles next. Actually, I want a billion things on my needles next. So tell me in the comments or on the blog what you want to hear more of and what you want to see me talk about in the future. And I will try to shoot a couple more videos before summer is over. Happy knitting, my friends.